Hello, I'm Sinead Cassidy, a board member of the National Breast Cancer Research Institute, and I'd like to warmly welcome you to the brand new series of Staying Abreast. We're delighted to bring you the second series as we continue to share inspiring conversations, powerful stories, and valuable insights around breast cancer awareness, treatment, and the powerful research that's currently going on. Over the next 7 weeks, you'll hear 8 remarkable stories from people whose experiences will both move and inspire you. This podcast is hosted by our wonderful friend Aileen Hickey and proudly brought to you by the National Breast Cancer Research Institute. Our hope is that this series not only informs and engages you, but also helps create greater awareness and understanding of breast cancer. Before I hand you over to Aileen, we'd love you to spread the word about this podcast. Follow us online, the National Breast Cancer Research Institute, and help us make an even bigger impact. Okay, let's get started.
My cancer had spread to my lymph nodes, so they took them all out and literally every single one of them was cancerous. I think there was 20 something were cancerous. So I had that surgery, and then after that I was like, I'm not missing the Galway races. I can't. I was like, no, I'm dressing up and I'm going to the Galway races, and I did. And I had a fabulous time.
Like how much post-surgery was that?
About 12 days.
So with me now is Fiona Morgan Coleman. How are you, Fiona?
Very good.
And Fiona is a guard. You're married with 2 young boys, Callum and Pierce,
Yes.
from Nina and living in Mayo.
That's it.
And so tell me, you were diagnosed in May 2019, so about 6 years ago. So
Yes.
I suppose what led you to the diagnosis? What led you to being investigated for cancer in the first place?
Okay, so there was one night I was just lying in bed and I literally was just scratching my chest wall just like this. And at the tip of my left breast, I just felt this lump. And I was thinking, Jesus, what's that? So then I put my hand literally like this on the other side and I went, God, this feels lumpy. This doesn't. Okay. Didn't really think too much about it, but I suppose at the time I was like, just wondering. So I just went up to the kitchen. I was like, David, listen, can you just feel the 2 sides of here? I was like,
David being your husband.
my
obviously.
husband, yeah. And I was like, just kind of give me that little reassurance. Am I imagining this? So he felt it and he said, you know what, Fiona, you're not. He goes, there's definitely something hard there.
Yeah,
and
so
it's not
hard.
the other side. So it's hard lump, yeah?
Yeah.
So that was fine. I was a guard. I'm stationed in Shannon in County Clare. So I suppose I was probably on duty the next day and I made an appointment to see the doctor. So I went to the doctor in Shannon and like that, she laid me down and she had a feel of it. And she's like, okay, Fiona, there is a lump. But she says, you're only 40 years old. The chances are it's nothing. So I don't want you to worry about it until we get it checked. So she said, look at Limerick Hospital. I refer you to Limerick Hospital because at the time I had my address in Nina, from Nina. So she referred me to Limerick Hospital. I went into Limerick and then that's when everything kind of went from it being me thinking that I didn't have cancer to having cancer. But will I explain to you sort of like what happened?
100%.
Yeah.
Background,
So,
yeah.
and this is kind of good for anybody that's sitting at home because I always like to say to people, please don't worry because you don't know until you get the results. You know what I mean? And it's a few weeks. It takes a few weeks. So I went to the doctor first. She referred me then to go and get checked out in Limerick Hospital. So I went into Limerick Hospital and then they did the biopsy on the lump. And also
So the triple assessment.
Yeah. So I had a mammogram first and a biopsy. That was it for me. Okay. So I was leaving that day and I was heading on holidays with my family.
Now, were you concerned at that point?
I wasn't concerned, I'll tell you why. Because my mammogram was clear. So the doctor had already seen that there was nothing like that visually that they
Nothing
could
had
see.
shown up in the mammogram.
Exactly. Now, I don't know if this happens for everybody. I'm sure people are waiting for results, but I just happened to be passing and I was like, look I'm going on holidays. Can I go away and enjoy this trip without worrying? And they were like, fire away. But it was the best thing that they ever said to me because I still went away, did the same thing. But then when I came back, I literally was going down to get the results of the biopsy. So that was afterwards. So on the 8th of May, so I was interested in the whole Instagram thing. I kind of had a little thing. I loved fashion and like that. Even that year I'd been to the breast cancer research events, you know what I mean, that were happening at the time. And, you know, it was that people were dressing up. It was before the races.
So you were going as a supporter and
exactly,
for fashion and
I
fun.
loved fashion, and I suppose I was putting a little bit up on Facebook, and then I had a conversation with a friend of mine at work, and I was like, you know, I don't know about Instagram with being a guard, and does it really kind of
blur the lines.
Yes, exactly. So I was like, and she goes, Fiona, if you like style, fashion, makeup, she goes, just start it and see how you get on. So that morning, I thought that I was going to Limerick to do a little shop in a couple of shops down in the Crescent. And that morning I was like, this is me now. I'm wearing a pair of jeans and a blazer. And I wasn't thinking about the results because I just thought, clear mammogram, sure, I'm fine. And off I went down to Limerick Hospital on my own, not thinking anything other than I was going to come out there, I was going to go shopping, I was going to come home happy.
So you were thinking about the content you were going to be putting up on Instagram.
Thank you.
And not thinking about any sort of results.
100%.
Okay.
So I went down then, I went into the surgeon and oh my God, like obviously she was like, Fiona, really sorry to tell you. She goes, but you actually have breast cancer.
And when you were by yourself?
I was by myself. So I was just like, oh my God, like obviously your reaction is what? Like I thought cancer was never going to get at me. I was so fit all my life. I ran, I played soccer until I was 7 months pregnant on Pierce when I was still traveling to Norway to play a soccer match. You know what I mean? And going to my doctor going, is it okay for me to play? Like I was always very fit, you know what I mean? And I just thought, there's no way, like, you know what I mean? Didn't drink, really didn't smoke. I was like, this can't be like happening. Anyway, it did. So she was so good. The surgeon, Fiona Tormey, amazing lady. So she was just like, look, it's here. We have to do more tests because it may have spread to your lymph nodes and all the rest. And sure, look, like everything else, she carried out all of those tests. And then my actual diagnosis was stage 3 aggressive breast cancer, estrogen driven, and all the rest. So look at.
And did she explain that well to you?
She explained it very well to me on the day, but on the day, they can only tell you from, we'll say, that biopsy. But then I suppose they have to go and they have to check other things as well. You know what I mean? Just, I suppose, to meet oncologists and other consultants to figure out my treatment plan. That was really it. So initially they'll tell you, but then it takes time to get everybody together to say, right, what treatment does Fiona need? You know what I mean? And you have to do different tests. People that have gone through this will understand it. Like, are you her positive, her negative, all of that kind of stuff, you know?
And can I bring you back here for 1 second? At this point, when did you tell your husband or your family?
So I went outside and I rang my husband and I told him. He was just like, oh my God. Like, I actually was due to go into work that evening. I texted my sergeant. I was like, I can't go to work this evening. I'm after getting bad news. And then on the way home, I was
so you drove yourself home?
Drove myself home. And on the way home, this is what happened to me. I was like, geez, I'm after putting up that video now on Instagram. What am I after starting? Because now I'm after getting a cancer diagnosis. And now they're going to think that I actually was like, now people are going to think that it just didn't work out. And I just didn't want to do Instagram. But I actually do want to do Instagram. So guess what I'm going to do? I'm actually not going to tell anybody. And I'm going to stay going. I'm going to stay trying on clothes. And I'm going to keep coming on. And I'm going to wear makeup. And I'm going to do all of these things.
So the start of your cancer journey was the start of your Instagram journey as well?
That was the first day I was diagnosed. Imagine, was the first day I started on Instagram.
Wow.
I know, it's mad, like. And then what I did was I said nothing. And then as things went on and all the rest, I was scheduled to have my surgery in July. And the day before I was having my surgery, I came on and I told the followers that I gained. I remember celebrating I had 1,000 followers. And then, like, you know, it kind of grows a small bit, you know, with fashion and everything else. And then I told them, and then it was just like, oh my God, Fiona, how did you show up knowing you had breast cancer, going through all these things? But you know what though? It's mad in a way, the things that you do to kind of get through something. And for me, Instagram is like my therapy. You know, that sort of way. It's just it's like a little therapy session for me. Just come on, feel good. That was really it, you know.
So it's a different form of treatment for you.
Yes.
In a way.
Exactly. Then obviously shared my whole journey. So the first thing for me, Aileen, was I had my surgery. So I had a mastectomy and I had an axillary clearance. So my cancer had spread to my lymph nodes. So they took them all out and literally every single one of them was cancerous.
Every single one?
Yeah. Literally, I think there was 2 that weren't, but all the rest, like 20 something, were cancerous. So I had that surgery. And then after that, I was like, I'm not missing the galvaresis. I can't. I was like, no. So looking back, I think it was absolutely crazy. But you know what? People do different things to get through certain things. You know what I mean? And for me, I was like, no, I'm dressing up and I'm going to the Galway races. And I did. And I had a fabulous time.
Like how much post-surgery was that? You know,
about 12 days. Now,
12 days post-surgery? You got dressed up and went to the Galway races?
Yeah, and I actually met the surgeon that's up in Galway, Michael Kearns.
Yeah, Professor Michael Kearns.
Yeah, what an amazing human, actually. And he just actually grabbed me that day and he's like, Fiona, I cannot believe that you are here. He goes, I'm going in to do the same surgery on another lady. And he said, no way. There's not a hope that that person is going to be walking around like you. He was like, I'm just amazed and I'm so delighted for you. So I had the surgery. And then after that, you see, there's always different parts. So you have to get well after surgery before you start treatment. So then a few weeks after surgery, I started my chemotherapy journey. So I had 8 sessions of chemotherapy. And like that, as I say, it's the toughest. It's the toughest thing you're going to go through, but you'll get through it.
How did you react to each round?
Okay, so the first for me was AC. And that's a really tough one because like that, you lose your hair. You lose the hair.
And how
every rib of
quickly
hair
did that? How quickly did that
after the
happen?
first session.
Literally.
So your oncologist tells you, your oncologist, all of them are so honest and they're just going to be so honest. Like he looked at me and I had hair like you, Aileen, and I had it tied up in a big bun. We used to call it the Fiona bun, actually. And he was like, listen, you're best to cut your hair or get rid of it or cut it short, do whatever. He said, because you're going to lose every single bit of that. And I was just like, oh, Jesus. But like, that was the worst thing for me was the hair loss, would you believe? Like when they cut the hairdresser was so good. When she cut my hair, she cut into a little pixie cut. Now, everybody was amazing. That is the beauty of Instagram. Everybody's like, you look beautiful. Your hair is gorgeous that length. You know, you're getting all the positivity. You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh, God, it's not so bad. But I did cry for about 3 days.
Did you?
Oh, Jesus, I couldn't. I didn't recognise myself.
Yeah. It's a very big thing.
Absolutely. That was the toughest at the time, like. And then I suppose after the first session, then you could see the little bits falling out. And I said, you know what, I need to get a shave. And that was that. Now, it was winter sort of at the time. I started my treatments in September, so I could wear a lot of woolly caps and little, you know what I mean, little turbans and all that. And then it got to the stage, Aileen, where I was like, you know what, this is getting a bit itchy. This is getting a bit whatever. I'm just literally just going to go with the no wig. So a lot of the times I just literally went with no wig.
So you gradually accepted the whole hair loss process and no wig or anything.
No wig or anything. And I'll tell you, so after that then, right, I had 35 sessions of radiation. And
now 35 sessions of radiation is a colossal amount.
They give you 30 and then they say, well, you might have to do an extra 5, but I got the extra 5. But I suppose at the time, my cancer was so aggressive that they were like, no, we need to try and kill as much of it as we possibly can. So then even after that, I just want to tell you about the hair thing. I went to Philadelphia with my sister. She was like, Fiona, let's go to Philadelphia for a few days. This is when I finished radiation.
So when would this have been?
This was the February of the following year. So 2020.
So this is just before COVID, so is it?
Yes, it actually was about the week before COVID. You're right. Yeah. We went to Philadelphia, but it was so funny because think about it. I had finished chemo in December. I had finished radiation in February. And when I was over there, I had this beautiful kind of it was brown. So my hair came back brown. And this just a gorgeous light brown colour had come along on my scalp. But all the Americans were they wouldn't leave me alone. They're like, oh my God, honey, who did your hair? It's amazing.
Fiona, isn't that
None
fabulous?
of them knew that like I got through treatment or anything. They were just like, you look sensational. I was like walking around Philadelphia thinking I was the bee's knees. But it was lovely. Like, so I got so used to the short hair. It was a really Sinead O'Connor look, you know, that kind of way. Yeah. But so look got through that and then COVID hit. So I went back to work.
But you're very lucky you had all your treatment completed before COVID.
I did. Then I decided I'm going to go back to work and I'm going to get back into it all and all the rest. And then sure, I started back and then they were like, Fiona, you can't wait in the station because of COVID. So I was sent home. So literally then I was working from home.
You were working as a guard from home.
Well, you know what I mean. There was only so much you could do from home, as we all know. But that was just the way it was. I had no control over that. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. But I had actually went back to work with my little rim of hair. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it was fine. But they were like, Fiona, are you sure? Like, but I was like, no, I want to come back. You know what I mean? Because I suppose after everything, you just want to get back into that little bit of normality as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you feel you're back to yourself and your career. And how old were your two little boys at that stage?
So Callum had only started junior infants. So Callum, I think, he was 4 years old and Pierce was 3. They were the ages of the kids when I was first diagnosed.
Wow.
And
so obviously they didn't know anything, did they?
They had no clue, but Callum knew that I'd lost my hair. So he was only very small. And I knew that he was looking at me a bit strangely, like, you know, when I went to pick him up in class with the short hair. Because when I got the pixie cut, that's when I introduced, you know, I kind of went to pick him up in school. He was just like, Mom, why did you do that to your hair? You know what I mean? Because he didn't recognise me, let's be honest. And I was like, somebody needed my hair and I just gave it to them and all the rest. And since then, They have never asked me ever, Mum, are you sick? Are you tired? Are you whatever? When I was going through treatment, I got up out of bed. I did all the things that I had to do. I just kept going, Aileen. Do you know what I mean? I just did. There was obviously times when you're going to be absolutely exhausted. But the thing about that treatment is it's nearly a false tiredness. Does that make sense? I just used to it was like a dragging yourself up to do something, but I just dragged myself up. And every time I did that, I nearly felt a bit better. Like after chemotherapy, you are going to feel okay for probably 2 days after it. And then there's going to be a week of you literally just being so sick, so tired and not being able to do much. But then as you get better before you're getting your next treatment, so that's what the body does. You're starting to feel better and then it's going to knock you again. So for those few days, I'd be in town shopping. I'd be probably on my Instagram. I'd be doing makeup. I'd be doing all sorts of stuff. But and it's
But
hard.
you knew the cycle, so you knew each time.
I knew each time.
Yeah.
And at the same time, like that, well, I had the 4AC, but when I started the second 4, I thought that this was going to be a lot easier. But unfortunately for me, my body was taking an anaphylactic shock to all of the last 4 treatments. So they'd give it to me and then they'd be like, do you feel short of breath? If you do, tell me. And then I'd be like, I actually feel short of breath. And they're like, right, so literally just come in, give you an injection. And then the treatment just goes on for that little bit longer. So no matter what, anaphylactic shocks or whatever, you're getting that treatment.
Yeah.
And they give it to you. And after that treatment, then, like I say to people, after chemotherapy, literally 2 weeks after, you're going to start feeling better and you're going to get better and better and better and better. Of all the treatments, chemotherapy, I found is the toughest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The radiation to me was a complete walk in the park. In, underneath the machine for a few minutes and out. You know, that kind of way. And I wasn't sick. I did get the tiredness. That was one thing. But I think I got the tiredness when I'd finished the 35 sessions. Does that make sense? Rather than going through it all.
Yeah.
I think at the end of it, I was feeling very tired. But
so from February onwards, COVID hit.
Yeah.
You're working away from home.
Yeah.
And everything is good.
Everything's good.
Okay.
And then in 2021, I'm in the shower. So another thing that I have to explain is that I did not have the reconstruction. So
that was your decision.
That was my decision. I was small chested. The scar line was just perfect. And I was like, you know what? I don't want any more surgery and I don't want anything else. I'm just going to leave it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Married, kids, my husband's going to have to put up with it. So like, I was just like comfortable in myself. I was like, I'm not having it. So that was fine. And then I was in the shower in 2021. I forget the month, but I always checked my scar line. So I'd always run my hand across the scar line. And please, for anybody that's had this, please always run your hands along it and know how different, how it feels. And obviously you have scar tissue, but try and know the difference. And if you don't, always ask.
Now that's a very good thing to say
Yeah.
to anyone who's listening is, you know, to know your body well enough that you can check that scar line so that if there's any change at all, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I found this tiny little bump. It was so tiny.
On the scar line.
On the scar line, but it was literally in between, we'll say, my 2 breasts. So it was right in the middle, okay, between the 2. But like that, very close to where I'd had the mastectomy, obviously. And I'd felt that and I was like, I don't remember feeling this now because I'd always have a good feel in the shower. Like I'd be always making sure, you know, not all the time, but definitely once a week anyways or whatever.
Had you been like that before, you know, before they found the first lump?
Oh, sure, I was 40 years old. I didn't think for a second I was going to have breast cancer. You don't just say breast check.
Yeah.
You're thinking, what? That's the way I thought. Like, I was just like, no way, sure, cancer's never going to come near me.
Yeah.
I just was so oblivious to it.
Was it in your family history as a matter of interest?
Would you believe my poor auntie at the time had just passed away that year from breast cancer? Yeah, my mum's sister. Like that, she had the mastectomy and all the rest, but then her cancer spread to her bones and everywhere else, so she didn't stand a chance. God love her, you know what I mean?
And have you sisters?
None of them. And I'm from a very big family. Like I have 5 sisters and 4 brothers.
And nothing affected?
None.
Okay.
No.
So it really wasn't on your radar, you know?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, so bring me
I
forward.
suppose when you're feeling good, you don't. So I found that little lump and then I was like, right, so straight back down to Limerick, rang the nurses and I was like, look I'm after finding a lump. And another thing I want to say is that if you've already been a cancer patient, there's no waiting. So, you know, when you go to your doctor and you have to wait a certain length of time, and I didn't know this. It was the nurse that told me this. So for anybody that feels like that, you can get in way quicker. You know what I mean? Because you're already a patient.
Yeah.
So I went down anyway and met my doctor, met the surgeon. The doctor put his finger literally on that and he pressed down on it and he goes, this is just a bone. And I was going, oh, Jesus, thank God it's a bone. This would be great news. You know what I mean? But then the nurse is like, actually, the surgeon's going to see Fiona after you've seen her. Like, she came into the room, and I was like, oh, okay. Anyway, I think it's always over to meet your surgeon anyways.
Yeah.
And
So
I
this is the
always
same
want-
surgeon you'd had previously?
Yeah. Shauna came in, and Shauna was like, you know what, Fiona? She said, yes, there was a lump there. She said, but look, she said, you had a lot of cancer, you know what I mean, in your body. She said, this could be a reoccurrence and it could be nothing. So I don't want you worrying about it, but look, we still going to have to do the test. So like that, went down, had the biopsy, waited for the results.
And then, same day?
Yeah, same day. And that came back that, yes, it was cancerous. So,
and were you by yourself again?
I'd say so. No, I think I was with my husband that day.
Okay.
Yeah, David came down with me. Yeah.
Okay.
He was definitely there. But like that, after the first time, he'd always come down. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he'd be like, you're not going on your own. But to be honest with you, Aileen, I'm kind of like, oh God, I'll deal with this myself. Don't be letting anybody worry around me. I don't know what that's about, but it's like, it's a real Irish thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Don't call the doctor, I'm fine. And you're literally so sick. Anyway, so that was cancerous. So what happened then was I had the surgery. So they went in and they took out that lump. The good news about that lump that they took out was that there was no cancer in the 2 centimetres around where they took out
Nothing
that
in the
lump.
margins.
Nothing in the margins. That's it. Love the word margins. Nothing in those margins.
Okay.
So they were happy. So that was, I think that was around September, October, Aileen, okay?
And that's 2021 or 2022?
Sorry, that was 2021, and I was supposed to start treatment in 2022. January 2022, they had me signed up for 19 sessions of radiation where I'd had the second lump out. I don't know what happened in between all of this, but they obviously got together, and one of the ultrasound lady was like, I'm not happy to sign off that the scar tissue on Fiona's scar line is cancer-free or benign of cancer or whatever else. So we're going to have to carry out more tests before she starts the radiation.
On the full scar tissue?
On the scar tissue, not only scar tissue, on my chest wall.
Oh, okay.
So I went down, and I wouldn't mind, but I knew that day that there was something wrong when they called me back. And the poor nurses, we all know it. They're like, don't be worrying, it's fine. We just want to do another check. And I'm going, another check? Yeah, right. So anyways, I went down and they carried out a couple of more ultrasounds on my chest wall. So they took like a little piece from here to spread it out.
Okay. Scar
line as well. And then I had to wait for the results of that. And then that was fine. They rang me back. They called me in. They're like, look, Fiona, actually, their cancer has spread to your chest wall. So forget about the treatment in January. We're going to have to start something new.
So when did they tell you this?
2022.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. So now how did you react this time round?
Oh, I was devastated.
Yeah. So was it a bigger reaction than you'd had the first time round? Almost?
Absolutely, because the surgeon told me that there was nothing more she could do for me. So she's like, Fiona, we can't take off your chest wall. We don't even do that in Ireland. I think you go abroad and they put in a plate. And the thing about putting in a plate is it's not going to be a nice surgery. And secondly, the cancer has probably spread. Do you know what I mean? As in, when you've got cancer cells and they go in your bloodstream and your lymphatic system and they go and they lodge somewhere else. And this is the thing with cancer, like. So once it's gone, like once it's dispersed, it's literally like, it's different if it comes up as a tumour, but these were all little cells that they had found. Do you get me? That hadn't formed tumours yet, barred the one that they've taken out.
Yeah.
They could actually feel the tiniest little tumour, the oncologist could, underneath. And he's like, so after that, then when she couldn't help me, I had my treatment in Galway. So Shauna goes, go back to Galway. Went back to Galway, met the oncologist, had a chat with him. He was actually lovely. He said, look, Fiona, we have new treatment now. It came out in 2019. Your cancer is hormone driven. We're going to give you something that's going to kill the hormones. They're going to kill the hormone. And we're going to put you on a new treatment that literally acts like a chemo. It's not as strong as it, but it's just going to kill the proteins that are causing this cancer as well. So they started me on the new treatment.
What's it called?
It's ribociclib and fulvestrant. So I get 21 tablets a month, 7 days off, and 2 injections into my backside every single month. And then
self-administered or
the nurses do it.
That. Okay.
They have to do it, yeah. So they give me the 2 injections. Bloods are checked every month. And thank God, since 2022, I've had clear scans. Now, I want to go back to something as well, just to mention it. At the time, they gave me a oophorectomy as well in Limerick. I had that surgery after this because they had found a tumour, a growth literally the size of a peach on my ovary. And they're like, Fiona, it's not cancerous, but we're not taking any chances it's coming out. Okay. And another thing is what probably confuses people is that they're thinking of estrogen, they're thinking of ovaries producing it as well. Sometimes they leave your ovaries in. They don't like to do too many surgeries if they can control it. But for me, I just had to get it out for that reason. And then about 6 months after being on the new treatment, I was feeling very unwell. And I was in the hospital and I was like, I don't feel well. I was having a CT scan the same day. Thank God I was. And I was telling him, I was like, I have a bit of a kidney infection. I don't feel well. And I went home and I'll never forget, went into the pharmacist. The pharmacist was like, Fiona, sit in the car. You're not good. And I was like, no, I just don't know what's wrong with me. I said, I have a bad kidney infection, I think, and just don't feel good. Anyway, went to bed, rang my husband, said, put a hot water bottle in the bed. I need to get to bed. I'm so sick. He was like, okay, fine. Went to bed, turned the phone on silent, and to get some sleep, and woke up and I had about 7 missed calls from the hospital. They were like, you need to come back in. You have a blood clot on your left lung. So I had an actual blood clot. I tell you, I keep thinking I'm like the cat with 9 lives. I swear, I had a blood clot on my left lung. And here was I treating myself to a kidney infection. But how do people know when they don't know?
You can't.
You can't tell. So so they called me back in and they got rid of the blood clot. So seemingly as well, the new medication that I was on can actually cause clots. So that's another good thing to know. You know what I mean? So just be careful. So they have me on the blood thinners now as well. And so far, so good.
But because you were under such close supervision, that's how they managed to find that.
Absolutely. See,
so again, trust the treatment.
Oh
and
my God, put every trust in them. They're amazing humans. Professor Michael Kearns in Galway with the whole breast cancer research, everything. They are just phenomenal. My surgeon, Shauna Tormey, trained with the oncologists in Galway. All these people know each other. Yeah. It's amazing. I would put my life in their hands. You know what I mean? Yeah. And another thing as well is that when I had come out of the oncologist, I was still feeling not great. But thankfully, Michael Kearns, the surgeon who didn't do my surgery, but now I'm under him. You know what I mean? Because I was shifted to them, but because I'm living in True, I'm 30 minutes from Galway. Everything then was going to go through Galway, and like that, Sean had every faith in there was probably no more surgery for Fiona, so let her go to Galway and get all the treatment that she needs. Anyways, talking to Michael Kearns, went into a room and he was like, Fiona, just tell me start to finish what's going on, what you did before, what you're doing now, everything. And honestly, I came out of there skipping. He was like, look at you, he said. Don't be letting this. He goes, we'll give you whatever treatments there is. And when that treatment doesn't work, we'll have found something else. So he said, there's definitely 10 more years left in you.
Isn't that fantastic?
Oh, stop it. I used to go, 10 more years. I've counted them now like this. Do. You know what I mean? But like that, I have a plan. My plan is to get well, to enjoy life. And just literally do everything.
Now, where are you? You're continuing that treatment.
Continuing the treatment. So I'm on the treatment for life. So this treatment I'm on will be until it stops working.
And then they will, or if there's a mutation, and then they'll change the treatment.
They'll change the treatment. So for now, like I said, I had a scan 3 months ago and my scan is clear. There's nothing. My cancer markers are low. Everything is good. But we all know how cancer works.
Of course.
All it takes is an infection, an autoimmune, anything. And you're back in. So sometimes now people give out to me, a lot of people. They're like, Fiona, please slow down a small bit. Don't want you getting sick. So literally this year, I suppose, was the first year where I just said, now, it wasn't really. It was after America. So I have to tell you about America. Is that all right?
Absolutely, because this is a good story.
Galway GAA were doing a fundraiser for their football team. And Granted Productions organised this Dancing Like a Star stateside in
Dancing
America.
Like a Star.
Yeah, so it was called Dancing Like a Star stateside. And they rang me and they asked me would I take part. So I was like, oh my God. Okay. And then we were thinking of what we're going to do and partner-wise. But they'd also asked Mary Gardner. Now, Mary Gardner is a guard as well, a community guard in Tralee. She's done loads for Breast Cancer Ireland and breast cancer research as well. So she was like, we were like, right, let's partner up. So we went and obviously the trainers come, the dancing instructors come. And we had a few weeks of that and we loved it. But it was all just so joyous. It wasn't about winning when we get to America. It was all about the crack, you know. That
were you a dancer?
Never a dancer. But look, I like a good
dance. But you were a footballer and you're fit.
Well, you know yourself when it comes to dancing. I think everybody just has their own.
Yeah.
But love music. But so anyway, we went over to America And we were trying to raise as
To
much
New York,
money.
was it?
To New York, yeah. So we were trying to raise as much money. And I just said to them, I was like, right, myself and Mary came up with, if we win the 25,000 euros, we're going to give it to...
So that was the prize money for coming first.
That was it. And we're going to give it to a charity. So I had picked the National Breast Cancer
Research Institute.
Yeah, exactly. And Mary was delighted to do it for them as well. So off we went over to America. And of course, lads, listen, you know America now and everybody out and the whole of Galway literally over there because Galway are playing New York. So there's late nights, a lot of them. So I was like, yeah, sure, look, it's only, it's a time difference. Sure, it's no point in going to bed now. But every time I got up the next day, I'd be like, geez, I think I was out till about 5 a.m. And then the others was like, Fiona, I may as well have been out. I can't sleep. Because you know yourself with the time difference and everything.
Yeah.
Anyway, myself and Mary that day, still delighted. We danced in the Hammerstein Ballroom. So it's where the X Factor and all of that goes on.
Wow.
All of the judges were absolutely amazing. Laura Nolan came over. She won the Dancing Like a Star this year. She's a dance instructor too. She was judging. Aidan O'Shea, a few others. They were all there. They were amazing. So myself and Mary got up anyway and we danced. And they picked the first 5 and then you have to dance again. Sure, after that, Mary goes, Fiona, I don't think now we came in the first 5. And I was like, Jesus, thank God. I was like, I can't get up there and dance again.
What dance had you done?
So we did the Blues Brothers, everybody. And the two of us dressed in 2 black suits. And it was amazing. So anyway, and I'd been out like the night before. Like I think I got home that morning at about 5 o'clock. We're like, okay, let's be respectable. We have to dance today. Anyway, great crack. So did it. And then we got called number 5 to dance again. So we were like, oh my God. And then we bloody won it. And then we did dance again. So it was just absolutely amazing.
As the winners, you danced again. So you danced the dance 3 times.
3 times.
And you won the 25,000.
We won the 25,000.
Prize money. And you gave it to the National Breast Cancer Research Institute.
Yeah.
Fiona, that is an amazing story.
It was amazing. But I'd had to take it easy after that. The amount of people that were hugging you, everything is pictures, you know yourself. That night, my ankle was a bit sore. You know the way you'd walk on a sore ankle? I actually couldn't walk on this ankle. And then the next day it was perfect. But this is all the different things that come with treatment and everything else that sometimes your body just goes, you know what, Fiona, stop. We're broken. Is your brain broken yet? Because the body's broken. So I was like, right, came home then and I'd say I must have had 3. As I said, I had COVID. What was the word for COVID? 21, 22, 23. I was like, there's everything happening. And I was wiped. I was absolutely wiped. I had a brilliant time. I loved it. I would go back and do it all over again. But I was completely wiped.
And when was it?
Home. It was in April.
This year?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I was like, you know what? That's it. I had an event planned. I started a Finding Balance and Feeling Good event. And I had my first one in January and it was absolutely amazing, Aileen. Like so many people came and everybody was just like, Fiona, that was just such a wholesome day. Thank you so much. And I had another one planned and I literally had to cancel it. I said, I cannot give what my body hasn't got. But anyway, there's another one coming up in November. So they're all happy out. I'm waiting for that one.
And what are they?
Sort of like a wellness event, but it's finding balance and feeling good. What I do is I bring on different ladies to chat on the stage and tell me about what they've been through in life and how they get through it and how they keep themselves well and all of that kind of stuff, you know, yourself, which I think is so important. Yeah. And I think that every lady, I speak about for the ladies now, like myself, need a day out.
Yeah.
And they need something wholesome and something nice and to listen to people going through difficult situations and how they get through them and how they help themselves. And just all the information and everything else I just find so important. But anyway, I'm doing a Christmas event on November the 23rd and I cannot wait at the Lochray Hotel. Okay, I wasn't really supposed to say that, but I've said it now. So it's all good. It'll be great. And I'm looking forward to it.
And tell me, you have 57,000 plus followers on Instagram, is that right?
I do. And the thing I love about Instagram is, like I told you from the beginning, it's like my little space. It's my little bit of therapy. And it's where I get to meet so many amazing people who message me telling me, Fiona, thank you so much. I've gone back on your highlights. You're really helping me get through my cancer diagnosis or my father's been diagnosed and different things. So you've all of that. And then
but your Instagram journey is going on the same length of time as your cancer journey.
That's it. Yeah, it was the exact same first day. Yeah. Since 2019, the first day. And like, I would never give it up. I love it. I just love it. Incredible. And it's not a stress for me. You know the way some people, like a lot of people will work for different companies and they're like, oh my God, I have to get that try on done for this. I just show up when I can show up and I don't when I don't. And I try and explain this to people as well. It's just, don't give too much that you can't, you know what I mean? That is, if it's causing you stress or any little bit of anxiety, take a step back. Your followers are always going to be there. You know what I mean?
And although it doesn't sound like you've taken too many steps back.
No, I kind of am that person anyway. I'm kind of, oh, go, go, go.
And are you back at work?
Yes. So I went back to work then after COVID stopped. I went back to work and obviously going through the treatment and everything else from my reoccurrence and just feeling better again. You know what I mean? So
you're back down in Shannon, are you?
Back down in Shannon. I had this moment of clarity, as I said, in Dunn Stores on the Headford Road. I don't know what it was. I was walking around and my head up there and I went, Fiona, you're going back to work. You are. So I was like, right, made the phone calls and I had to laugh because my sergeant was like, right, so you're starting back another couple of weeks. And I was like, no, tomorrow. And he's like, oh, okay. So started back to work. And like that, I have my own set of hours. Obviously, my doctor can only tell them how many hours you can do. So yeah, and I'm on light duties, which is lovely. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know. So
and have you good support down there?
Amazing. Honestly. Like the guards are like the people on my unit are like my best friends. My sergeant's like my best friend. Like anybody above him. Do you know what I mean? Everybody was so supportive, amazing. And that's why I think I love the job as well. Like, you know what I mean? Because I find as well that in the job, when you have your own unit and you get on with them, it's something very special and it's something that you should mind because that's not always the case.
Yeah,
Do you get
it's
me?
another family. It's your
Absolutely.
own little tribe. And tell
tribe.
me about the boys. Have you told them subsequently or are you planning to tell them or do they know that you're still in treatment?
The kids know nothing.
Yeah.
So like I said, after Callum saw the hair and got a little bit of a fright, I said, no, I can't do this. He's too small. Like at the time, they were only 4 and 3. They were too young.
And they're now 10 and 9.
They're now 10 and 9. So they have no access to social media. They have no phones. Now, I'm not going to go down the whole phone thing, but I'm not giving him a phone even when he's 12 years old. I'm not handing him that device. I'm not giving him access to it. If somebody tells him and I have to explain to him, that'll be the time. But for now, I just want him to grow up and to get that confidence. You know, when they're that young and you just want them they're playing all the sport and they're in school and they just want to have friends and have fun. I'm just going to give them that time. And when the time comes that I feel like I have to explain it, that they've heard it or something, I will. But for now, Mum as well, I do everything with them. I look okay. You know what I mean? So there's no need to tell them that there's anything wrong when physically there's nothing wrong. You know?
Absolutely, yeah. So that's
really, as I say, my opinion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people
each to their own.
Each to their own. And that's the one thing I always try and be so honest with people. Even when it came to the mastectomy, I put things up. I just want to say on my Instagram page, there's a good few reels there, whether to have reconstruction, whether not to have reconstruction. All of those things, you know what I mean? And
like it's a very personal choice. And
it's
there's
so
no
personal.
One size fits all.
No, there's not. And then I'd like, you know, in the comments, then people might comment and give their opinions and all the rest, which I think is really important. I think we've a lovely little family anyway, and I think everybody's just there to help everybody. You know what I mean? That's going through it. It's very difficult. It's very hard. But what I tell people was, look at me. I've come through it. Anybody else can come through it as well. Just try and keep positive. And just do nice things for yourself.
And again, I think that's great advice for anyone listening. You know, and again, you know, like look at the way the treatments are there now. I mean, as you said, that treatment that you're currently on, was it 2019?
That's it. It only came out in 2019.
Yeah, so there's always new treatments.
And I started it new, like as in, you know, probably the end of, I started early 2022 and it's working. You know, and that's the thing, like, that's why it's so important as well to support
the research, because if it wasn't for the research,
it's not for them. Like, honestly, when I first got that diagnosis, it was like 1 in 3% that it was a very rare form of breast cancer that I had. And I remember that was the only time I Googled, Aileen, I Googled it and it was the worst thing I did because back then I literally had 12 months to live. Like, and I was going, oh God, and there wasn't another paper wrote on that type of cancer.
Yeah.
Maybe they've wrote about it now, I'm not sure, but that was the most recent. And I was like, a year to live. And I'm there going, oh, Jesus Christ. But like I say to people,
danger of Googling,
stop, don't Google.
Yeah.
After that, I used to actually come on and remind people.
I think just accept what you hear from your professionals and your care team.
100%. Like everything. When I was having Callum, I was going to be induced. That was the only time I went on Google as well. I remember ringing my sister going, I can't have this baby. There's no way I'm going to be able. She's like, Fiona, please just get off Google. But there were the only 2 times that I Googled anything for an illness and I will never do it again.
Neither will help you.
It'll give you the worst case scenario and it's not going to happen to you. And everybody's body is different and reacts different ways. You know what I mean? So,
So what would, for any woman listening today, I mean, what would be, the key takeaways that you have, having gone through the last 6 years?
Right. first thing I'll say is we do too much. We actually do everything. And I know that you might have a good husband and he might fill that dishwasher and he might empty it. But honestly, we do everything. We take on everybody's stress. We're taking on what the husband's going through. We're taking on what the neighbour's going through. Please mind your body. Leave things alone that are out of your control and don't take on the stress. Stop it.
I have to say, that is fantastic guidance to anyone, cancer or no cancer, because it is taking, doing tasks that you don't need to do.
Doing tasks we don't need to do, stressing about the small stuff. Stop doing it. I did it. I was taking on absolutely everything. And I'd say my immune system was so floored. Like, as they say, there's a certain, like, your good cells would normally kill a cancer cells. But if your immune system is down, those good cells are not killing the cancer cells because they're not able to. So it makes so much sense that you have to mind yourself. Find yourself a little hobby. Do stuff that's nice for you. Even if it means going away for a night with the girls, you have to do it. We get all caught up in the babies won't survive without us. Yeah, they will. Do you know what I mean? We take on it all. Oh, will they be okay if I go away? If I can't do that, we'll bring the children into everything. We'll make all the excuses.
Yeah.
Stop making them. Start slowly. Start eating well. Start drinking those beautiful juices and start eating a lot better. Mind yourself, your few little hobbies, and honestly, just leave the stress out of your body because the stress is going to kill you.
What about asking for help? I mean, were you good at asking for help or asking for support?
Probably not at the time. I say I was just, busy man. You know the way mothers are. We just do it all.
Yeah.
We don't say, oh, can you, like, you know what I mean? We don't have nannies. Like, you know what I mean, to do everything for us. But like that, if you're working full time and you need a nanny, get them. If you need to get a cleaner, get the cleaner. Start taking the load off yourself if you can at all. You know, that sort of way. Just don't take on too much. Literally just mind yourself. And very importantly is check yourself.
Yeah.
Just check yourself in the shower. Know that if it's a rib or a lump, or just know the difference in your boobs.
Know your body. So whatever,
know your body
so
well that if there's any changes that you might spot it. And some people, like my sister, they get like that. You know the way we'd NCT a car. They go for checks. They paid the money. I forget how much. Could be like €500 to go into maybe a private hospital and get checked from head to toe. And just in your own time, do it. Do it for your birthday. Do it for whatever. But just for mammies, because we just take on so much, is just try and enjoy life a bit more and don't stress too much. And look, when you're a mother, we take on the stresses of the kids. We take on so much. It's just try and enjoy your time with your kids. And if you be good to yourself. And for me, even it's planning a couple of nights away. You know what I mean? And I look forward to going away then for those 2 nights because I love
to have
traveling.
something in front of you that you're looking forward to.
Something that you're looking forward to. Because before I ever joined the Guards, I travelled the world for 2.5 years and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever done. And I suppose even seeing the world and seeing all the beauty and what it can bring to my life, I was like, I can't let cancer do this to me. There's so much more I need to see.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I also kind of think you have to do something that's just for yourself every day, something that you enjoy, that's just for you. Whether
absolutely,
it's a walk,
that's it. Even a bit of meditation or a bit of yoga or whatever small it is. Like sometimes even for me, it could be actually coming on camera and doing a face of makeup.
Yeah.
That I feel
because that's your thing.
It's my thing, and I feel like, you know what I mean. And then I've gone from wear no makeup to makeup, and I feel a bit better, and there might be a little bit more of a pep in my step that day. But just do things that make you feel good.
Do things that make you feel good. Yeah. I think that those are the key words to take away. So look, Fiona, you're just fantastic. So Fiona Morgan Coleman, thank you so much for coming in and for sharing your story. And I hope anyone listening has gained a lot out of it. Thank you, Fiona.
Thank you so much.